Hello and welcome to Thav Exclusive. I'm your host, Natasha. On this episode, we'll be speaking with a broadcast journalist, voiceover artist. He's also a singer-songwriter. He's been in the media business for over 17 years. I call him a veteran. You want to stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. The famous Mr. Robinson Akpu. I got your surname right this time.
Yes, you did. You did. A lot of people have to go through my class of pronunciation every time they mention my name. Some of them just say Robinson Akpu. And they say, no, Robinson Akpu. I say, no. It's not Akpu. Akpu. And you did it well. You did it well.
Thank you so much. I had to rehearse that in my head.
Thank you for helping me out.
Okay, so you were such, first of all, your voice is amazing.
Thank you.
1 out of a million.
Oh,
I'm sure that's why you're in the broadcast industry.
I tend to think so because I've always been told I sound different. I don't know why, but from my early days, I've been told you sound different, you sound different. I thought it was a bad thing until I grew up and realized it's actually a good thing.
Bankable.
Yeah, it's bankable, exactly.
Okay, so let's get right into the interview. Your journey into broadcasting, you have been in this for over 17 years, like you said, and I'm like,
how is that even possible? You're too young.
Yes. You know, so I'm like, describe to us what your journey has been like. How did you even come into it?
Yeah, the journey to the broadcast industry started even before I became a professional singer or became a trained broadcast journalist. In my teens, I used to listen to a lot of radio, listen to people talking on radio, listen to the kind of songs they played. And it made me feel like there were professionals somewhere. These people, when they speak, they sound right, they have etiquette, they have a way of transmitting emotions to you just by listening to them. So I got glued to radio. And when I got to a certain age that I could move to certain places, I found myself getting closer to the radio stations to meet these people. So I remember in the late 90s when Bielsa was created and there was Radio Bielsa. And I heard the station now has a transmitter. There's a station here, you can meet those people. And I heard, oh, Mablas Macaulay is there. I said, no, I must go and meet these bros. So I found myself going to the radio stations to hang out with these veterans just to, not like I'm a professional, I just wanted to sit around them, hear them talk. And I realized they were actually human beings. So I became friends with them and they started telling me, oh, you can do this job if you go to school and get trained. Though I went to school, I didn't go to study broadcasting.
Yes.
I went to study business administration and management. Afterwards, my story changed.
So would you say it was a thing of passion?
Definitely. It was a thing of passion because I loved radio. Even before I became a teen, I loved people who could articulate their words, people who could tell you exactly what they feel and use the right words. It doesn't matter if it's in the local language, if it's in Pidgin or if it's in English. I just loved listening to people who could break certain words or certain scenarios down for you. It's like reading a book, and if you meet words you don't know, you just sometimes jump over. But if you listen to an audiobook, it's as if the person is talking to you and transmitting the message directly into your brain. Yeah, so I've always loved it. And that drew me closer to the broadcast industry.
And it seems like a love relationship you have with the broadcast industry and with broadcasting itself. But there's been a step back, from radio broadcasts. And
yeah.
So why that?
It's just like before I even got into broadcasting, I was a musician. I started out as a member of a boy group called VOP, and we found ourselves traveling, singing, going to churches, attending concerts. Afterwards, we metamorphosed into becoming part of Asuekie's New Dimension. And at that point, trust me, I never thought I'd go into broadcasting or radio or anything of that sort. I was just about the music. It was just about, okay, go to this event. After this event, you collect your little, you go to this place. I was just about the music, until a certain encounter in Lagos that got me thinking, this is your voice. You can
do more.
You can do more with this. So I think that was what made me transit from the music to the media. It was actually an event in Lagos at Eco Hotels. I think Asu Ekie was there too. The band and Don Jazzy. Then the band was just fresh into Nigeria. They were still doing, what is the Coco? So we're all backstage, and there was a slight delay. And Miriam and Azodo now came backstage and said, can any of you just help tell the audience that they should sit down, calm down, that we're having a delay, we'll start very soon, because I don't want to go out, I don't want to say anything, I don't want them to hear me. I just said, okay, I can do it. So they gave me the mic, and I just said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We're sorry for the slight delay. We'll be kicking off very soon, so please just take your seat. And she looked at me and said, are you on radio? I said, no.
And that was the defining moment.
That was the point where, because I knew her to be someone I watch on NTA 2 Channel 5. For her to look at me and say, are you on radio? Meant
there was something.
Yeah, there was something. So I go back to Port Harcourt and say, okay, radio. How do I get to radio? How do I get to radio? And I sought for the elders. And I heard of someone called Pastor Bernard Upubo Graham Douglas. And I called him, and he said, oh, Robinson. You said your name is Robinson. Because that's how he sounds. He said, I can hear the voice, but I cannot hear your grammar. Come to the office, let us talk. I was like, this man sounds, his voice sounded so rich. So for him to tell me to come, I knew there was something. And that was how I went into the media industry. So it's always been music and the media.
And it's so beautiful to note that, being in the media, especially in broadcast, it's not only about the voice, the grammar.
No.
Has a key role to play, just like he rightly identified with you. So I'd like to ask you, with your whole experience, 17 years, what would you describe the growth process so far with the industry itself? Because back then, in your day, in your time, when you initially started, it was mostly about the weight of what you said, how you pronounced it, you were getting it right with your grammar. It was not necessarily about the accent.
Nah. It wasn't about the accent.
So how would you describe it now?
Then, you see, I don't know how others came into the industry, but I came into the industry from listening to the veterans, going to understudy them. After going to Alpha Institute of Broadcasting and Communications, I was sent on an internship to Radio Rivers. So I had to also go sit with veterans who would tell you, make sure every word sounds right. Don't go and twist your tongue to say bird instead of bird. Don't go and bear. Because every wrong pronunciation transmits a wrong message. So make sure you get your pronunciations right. Fine. Today, the industry is open. Everybody can become a presenter. Anyone can become a broadcast journalist, as we've tagged ourselves. But there's still a gap. People want to... that spirit of fake it till you make it is beginning to creep into the professional industry. And it wouldn't work. You cannot fake it till you make it in the broadcasting industry. Your neighbors, your family members will tell you, you sound like you are faking it. The way you talk, no be so. They will tell you. If you have to speak Pidgin English, speak Pidgin English. If you have to speak English, speak English. If you have to speak Ikwere, sound like an Ikwere person, for Christ's sake. Don't say Rumo Koro. Nah, it's Rumo Koro. Don't say first artillery. It's first artillery. Don't twist it and send the wrong message. The industry today is fine. It's great. We have lots of media industry organizations, a lot of TV stations, radio stations, but
in terms of quality,
the people of this age, we want to jump from 5 to 20. We don't want to count 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
It's
11.
too stressful.
Yes, it's too, exactly. I remember the first day I was given a script to read the news. I was an intern for over 5 months. Then I was also on probation on the radio station for close to 2 years. I was talking and doing everything, but I wasn't given the script to read the news because the management at that time felt you needed to grow into it. The people need to accept your voice. So the first time I was given the script to read was because the newscaster was not around. And they looked at everyone and said, okay, Robinson, you can do this. Give Robinson the script. And that was how I got the script. I got into the studio, I was shaking. I was like, God, this thing has 14 pages. Oh, God. How do I read this 14 pages and keep my pace, keep my phrasing, keep my fluency, let's just do it. And it flowed. Though I was shaking, I knew within myself that I was shaking, my pace wasn't there. Afterwards, I was told, okay, you did this well, this was wrong, keep at it. So it took time. It's not just one script. It takes time for you to get from one word to another word. I remember when my vocabulary was probably less than 40. Some people don't know their vocabulary is low. Every time they're talking, you hear, you know, that's how you know people who have less words in their mouth. And to become a professional, you have to be at that point where the words just fly in. It's like you're like a dictionary. You don't have to search for words to express yourself or enunciate certain situations. It has to be there. But today, we don't want to read. I remember we had to have a Daniel Jones pronunciation dictionary. You have to have a thesaurus. You have to have books around you. Just fill your head. Make sure you don't look empty outside. That's what we lack in today's media industry. A lot of people it's too much forming. It's not a bad thing. It's good for the time, but it's not really good for the business.
So from all you've said now, what would you say makes for an exceptional broadcast journalist? What qualities?
An exceptional broadcast journalist is one who has a voice that is acceptable, that has proper articulation, that has proper fluency. There's some people you listen to, you can tell, oh, this person can articulate words properly. This one is searching for the pace. The pace is not right there. This one can't. The phrasing, how can you end the sentence here? You expect to start. No, certain words have to land. Certain sentences have to land. An exceptional broadcast journalist of today, I can listen to you and just understand you one time. I don't have to listen to you and go, there's sometimes you're listening to people, especially the politicians, when they're speaking, they act like they know all. But you listen to them, some of them just say development, and you go, oof. Because that's wrong pronunciation. There's nothing like develop. So for a good broadcaster, you have to know these things and play with them, use them. Do not allow society dictate your profession. It's like you don't come into my studio to tell me how to sound. I tell you what's right in the studio. These days, people sit in the studio and just make noise all day, use all sorts of slangs. Not a bad thing. But what I'm saying is, to be top-notch, you have to make sure you satisfy the professor, satisfy the secondary school student, satisfy the mother at home, and satisfy the teenager who's listening to you on the radio, because all they want is the message, not your formings, not your style, not your finesse that you're trying to sell. They just want the message.
So, the mass communication studies in our universities play a key role.
Exactly.
In how our broadcast journalists most of the time turn out, how they come out and what they know and how they present themselves. Would you say that our educational sector is doing well in that regards?
No, frankly, no. I've had to talk to interns from mass communication departments from certain universities, and I look at them and go, wow. Even some undergraduates or some people who did not graduate from school, who did not graduate from the university, speak better than you. because in their time, there's some of our elders who did not attend some of these universities.
But they're well spoken.
But they speak well. They transmit the message properly. Now you have people who even go to study mass communication, and you can't communicate. You're talking about communicating to a lot of people, which is the mass, but you cannot communicate to one.
To one.
So it's a problem. It's not. I keep saying it. It's not necessarily about the style you use. It's about the information. Make sure the information you're sending is accurate. Don't let the style or your individual person take the place of the message.
Thank you so much for that. And I know that you have your whole music career. I mean, even before you got into broadcasting, there was music, you were a singer. That story, I really need to get into it, but we'll get into that just after a short break, and we'll be right back.
Hey there, are you looking to record your videos, do your voiceovers, and take your professional pictures? Look no further. With our state-of-the-art newsroom, photography, kitchen for our food content creators, and exclusive children's studio, we certainly can deliver the best studio experience. Our carefully designed studio space can bring your diverse creative content ideas to life. We aim to consistently serve value to our customers far and wide. Come, let Thav Media give life to your dreams. Thav Media, a slice of infotainment.
Welcome back. So you are also a singer-songwriter, and you've been doing this from way back, more than even the 17 years you've been in broadcast. Let's hear more about that.
Okay, so music started for me very early from church. I was a church boy, obviously. So I think when I was like 8, 9, I used to sing in the children's choir. I remember one of those songs, Dare to be a Daniel, dare to stand alone, dare to have a purpose firm, dare to make it all, dare to be a Daniel. You know, those children's songs, we used to sing it back then, and it grew from doing that with the children's choir to being invited to sing special numbers in the main church. And it was like, wow, I was singing in presence of the elders, in presence of, until it got to the point where after listening to too much radio, listening to music outside, there was the need to sound like these people, to do some Michael Jackson, some Lionel Richie, everything that was playing around me. So I started out officially looking for a group to sing, or people that were also interested in what I do. And that was how I met Charles Baridam and Barituka Nna while I was a student at Rivers Poly. And we formed a group called VOP, Vessels of Praise. And from there, we started going to churches to sing. We raised money to record, just so we can push the brand. For me, it was all about, I need an avenue to push my voice out. I needed to blend with whoever. That was how the relationship with Asue Kiye even came about, because we were already known, we were performing everywhere, and I felt like Asue Kiye is my big brother, he has more leverage. So I was like, bros, if you get any show where you know if you attend, your table full, just call us, we'll go cut that show. And he also realized, okay, I like this guy's zeal. For me, it was just about every opportunity to show you I can sing. Not just show you, to get this music out of me, to get it out there. Sang with Asue Kiye for a couple of years, and I left him to go to broadcasting. After leaving Asue Kiye, I just shut off the music scene and went to study broadcast journalism. And 8 months later, I was on radio. But now, while on radio, I was still battling with recording music, and I had one incident one time where I went to Abuja for an event. I think it was the National Youth Merit Awards. So that night at the after party with AY, Two-Face, and a lot of people back then were just grooving. It said, oh, but tomorrow, and there's so event in town, and I've realized, oh gosh, I'm a broadcaster, I'll go radio tomorrow. Me, I can't stay. Everyone was saying, we're still into meet so and so, meet so and so. So it got to a point where I realized the media, the broadcast journalism was also stealing
away from your
stealing me
music
from
passion.
my passion. I travel for events and I have to rush back to radio. At some point, I just felt
you had to choose.
It was too much. I just had to choose, and I chose the music. And when I chose the music, I didn't choose to hit the music full time. I chose to be doing the music on the side and also selling my brand as an independent content creator, voiceover actor, because at that point, I felt I already know the media industry. I can run a radio station. I can create content. I can create programs. I felt, okay, I know this side. Let me do the music. And when I started the music, that was when people I knew realized that, oh, this guy can write our school anthem. So I've written anthems for schools.
So that's a part of songwriting.
Yes, I've written anthems for schools, school songs, theme songs for politicians, theme songs for brands. I can't sing them now because I'd be promoting somebody. So I started doing all that with the music on the side. Just that I decided to now give more of my time to my independence as opposed to being on radio in the morning saying, hello, good morning, and welcome to another beautiful day. No. I decided to be Robbie. I can wake up 9 o'clock and go and do that job you've given me. So the music is still there, though, like some would say, there was a long hiatus, a long one. And that started when I went to Lagos. When I left the media and went to Lagos, I had this conflict within me. As someone who grew up in church and now doing circular music, as they would call it, I found myself not wanting to use certain words, not wanting to sell myself.
To be vulgar.
Yeah, not wanting to be vulgar. Oh, I'm now a father. Can I say these type of things? How would my kids feel when, I had that conflict in my head. I'm like, oh, this music's safe. Okay, Rob, just do music that you would be proud of. The people might hear your music and say, this guy is a bit sing, but yes, do what you'll be proud of. And that's how my music got to a point where people look at me and say, well, you didn't do mature music, or you do this R&B soul, I'm doing what my soul accepts 100%. I don't want to use certain words that my kids will ask me, Dad, what's that? What are you saying in that song? That's childish. I don't want to be at a point where I'll regret what I said in the past or regret certain content about me that came out. So my music went through that whole process of refining itself while I struggled.
All right, so first of all, I must say that, and I know that you hear this all the time, that you have an exceptional voice.
I hear that a lot. Even on ATM queues. Even if I just stand behind the line and say, "Did they pay?" Somebody just look at me and say, Robinson. And I'm like, how do you know my voice? I've been hearing that voice for a while, so I hear that a lot from people. And
I know that you have also journeyed into, in fact, not journeyed into, it's almost like it's been a portfolio career, voiceover artist, singer, songwriter, broadcast journalist, all in one, in the same space of time.
Yes.
Content creator, if I might even throw that in. But before I get into your career as a voiceover artist, I'd like to ask, how would you describe the music scene, the music industry now in terms of quality music produced, and then quantity? Do you think that we are doing more of quality music now as at then when you started? Or what? How would you describe the music industry at this point in time?
Music for me, I believe that in every era has its vibe. The vibe for now, it's about just pushing it out there. There was a time where a musician, an artist, had to record a single, maybe in January, do a follow-up single late February, then say May, June, you're talking about dropping an album, and you now wait till the next year. And later on, it now got to the point of, look, just record one full album and put it out there. put it online. And people even move to the point of just doing singles. Some people can drop singles until they see that it picks before they decide to do an album, because the fear of not selling is also there. But I tend to believe that the music of today is moving with the times. We're at the point where people don't want to listen. If the people don't listen, who are you singing to?
Who are you marketing to?
Who are you marketing to? That's why for people like us who pick a certain genre of music to do, it's not that difficult, because people hear you and just say, if it sounds like this and it goes like this, it has to be Robbie. Or if it sounds like this and it goes like this, Asha is changing brand. But there are some you hear and you just go, all these people, they don't come again. Yeah. So there will always be the content and the vibe. The content might be 10%. That 10% is always there. But it's hard for you to see it, because even radio wouldn't play it. The 10% of good music that comes out every year, even the major TV stations and radio stations may not play it.
Because they're termed not to be so marketable?
Yeah, they're termed not to be
popular.
that marketable, and they don't have the finances to push the promotion, because promotion of today is all about money. Somebody could release a tap, and spend 100 million, and everybody will hear it, and everybody will stream
on
it.
all airwaves,
but someone will go to
media.
the studio and produce a masterpiece and not be able to promote it, and people won't hear it. So the 10% of quality, it's still out there, though the media is also to be blamed, because the media doesn't source for, when I was on radio, there were organizations who sought out new music and distributed that new song across the world. They used to send us songs. I remember these mixes called Urban Express from the US, and different mixes that come from different continents. We used to have that. So you can see new music coming out every week, and you have to decide. Even at that, those people are doing promotion. So the good 10%, it's there. 90% is just hogwash. Fra, 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 fra. They make the buzz, we all hail them, but trust me, next year you forget the name of the person.
No more timeless music. It's all about the money. It's all about the vibes.
The timeless music is there. It's in that 10%. But do you have the time to sort for it? Some of us do. When you're just surfing the net, or sometimes you're watching a program and you see within the commercial break, they play one song that you like. I do that a lot. I just see the song. Man, this song is great. Who sang this song? I just download the song and put it in my playlist. The person might have been there 5-10 years that you didn't know. You would be like, this type of person, there's music like this, and I've been listening to this. So it's there. But 90% of the noise is what we're faced with.
It's a pity, but I think that, like you said rightly, it's the times that we're in. Because if there's not a market for music that is termed to be all vibey and more noise, I don't think there would be much popularity for that kind of genre.
At all. The Nigerian music, the Afrobeat we have today, is cutting across to the world because it's about the African vibe. The African vibe, it's groove. Africa has groove. Africa has rhythm. Even the R&B we do is African music that was done by black people who had been there for a while. I hate to say this, but the best form of rhythm that we have in the world today are from Africa. The drums, even the guitars, the bass guitars that people create today, they are African rhythms.
Very well said. Africa to the world. Okay, sir. So as a voiceover artist, you have done exceptionally well in that area.
I'm trying.
You would always have to be modest. But yes, you've done exceptionally well in that regards. And we know that one of the most popular voiceover artists out there is Morgan Freeman. His voice is timeless. You want to hear that voice every other day, if you could. But then I would like to ask, it seems to be an emerging market in Nigeria where people are coming into it, and more creatives are saying, okay, we can diversify into this, and the market is opening. But would you say it's a bankable career path?
Of course, definitely. It's a bankable career
in
path.
Nigeria, particularly.
For Nigeria, in Nigeria, nothing is bankable. In Nigeria, nothing, I say to the camera, nothing is bankable in Nigeria. Even a doctor, a lawyer, we're just shooting blanks, hoping that something will die when we shoot. but the industry is bankable. I mean, you just mentioned Morgan Freeman. You can't tell me that the voice of SpongeBob SquarePants is a poor man. You can't tell me that the person who plays the voice of Squidward in that same SpongeBob is a poor man. It's just that we've not harnessed the industry itself. The voiceover industry is so broad. It has not just documentaries, audiobooks, commercials, which we call jingles, voiceover for cartoons, animation, and all that. So
it's vast.
It's vast. Now, the people in that industry have to work with other professionals that are close by to make it work. For instance, I do a voiceover for a sporting company. They have to get other creatives who are animators to create something that my voice would flow with. So the industry has to build itself. Kudos to the content creators who are doing all they can. For now, you can tell that Nigerian content creators, especially the comedians, they're dropping a lot of content. But in terms of the voiceover industry, the people haven't gotten there yet. Or even the churches who are supposed to get professionals to do their voiceovers, they don't want to pay yet because they feel, it's not really there. So they use whoever any member.
Or seems like it.
Any member, just do this or do the jingle, we'll put it on radio like that. They do it. So some of them start doing it from the church like that, and it gets to their head that they are good in this field, not knowing they've not learned the rudiments, they've not passed the process. So when you have people like that not knowing what they're doing, and they come out to tell you about the business, a young gun would say, if this one is doing voiceover,
I can do that.
I can do it. So the industry is there, but it's growing. It's growing. If by the time we have people by the time more people love to listen to audiobooks, more people love to listen to documentaries, more people love to speak properly, they will appreciate voiceovers. I mean, if the animators who do children content on our national TV, some of them need to be told the truth, unfortunately. Because if you do content for children and you don't use the right voice, it destroys everything. It comes off as wrong. I can say a good percentage of Nigerians train their kids via Nickelodeon, Disney, Cartoon Network. And what do these children watch? Foreign content done by voiceover actors. Name it. Name any cartoon, any children content. The industry is vast. Parents pay for subscription just because their children has to watch that. But they don't know that their children can do that same thing. That thing that they're watching other children do, their kids can do it. But because you're not told, you don't realize that your daughter can be a voiceover actor. So
that means there is a lack of information somewhere. There's a lapse.
The education, our education system doesn't open up the industry to you. It's as if you're not told. For instance, my kids know now that, this man did the voiceover for SpongeBob SquarePants. This other person did the voiceover for Boss Baby. I also played the YouTube videos for them to see the people recording in the videos. So if we have that kind of information going out to the world, you have children who will aspire to be commentators.
I love this so much because in Nigeria, the creative sector has always been amazing, but it's never really had the reception because we've never been rightly educated onto how vast it is and how much we can actually be able to capitalize on the market because we have the capacity, we have the human resource, we just need to be better educated on how to go about it.
That's what I said. The education, people are not properly educated.
So now in Rivers State, bringing it down home, Rivers State here, one beautiful thing I'm loving is the creative sector is beginning to boom.
Oh, yes.
We have exports like Sabenos, Bori, and McAngel, and many more. Sophia.
Yes.
And I'm loving it. I'm loving that Rivers, we are getting there. We're beginning to have this limelight, but it's only still a select few. It's only still a select few. We're not out there as we ought to be. Even though I appreciate the presence that we have, right now. But I would like to ask you, what recommendations would you give to our creative sector, in order to be able to rightly capitalize on the market? Because most of them want to say, oh, they have to, be in Lagos or elsewhere, to push up their talent. But no, right now we are understanding that back home where you are, you can be able to create. So what do you have to say to that?
The thing is, wherever you are, you can be located. As a matter of fact, I just did a recording for someone in Lagos. I did it on Saturday, and I sent it that same Saturday. And I got my balance yesterday.
Which will be shared after.
No,
after
which is already gone. Now, the truth is, just like you mentioned, Mark Angel, Sabinos, Aboli, Jojo Falani. Now, these guys tapped into a certain sector that was just coming up. And one thing with the creative industry is that there are always avenues. Today, it could be comedians creating skits. Tomorrow, it might be something else. I remember when Linda Ikeji started, a friend of mine who used to be very close to Linda was saying, this small girl, she's now raising shoulder for me because she's doing this one. This one that can't even read. Because she was coming to the broadcast industry and she was told, you're not good enough to present. So she sought an avenue where she can use her creativity to sell a brand. And she sold her Linda Ikeji's blog. Afterwards, everybody started doing blog.
Now.
Exactly. So for my advice to people, creatives in the industry now, especially those in Port Harcourt, don't look for somebody else's idea.
To replicate.
Do your own thing. It will surprise you.
Originality.
I remember when I started telling people I do voiceovers, I write theme songs. I feel like, write theme songs, how? I said, like the way you hear theme songs, you hear commercials having theme songs and there's a voiceover that follows it. That's somebody's job. And these people are rich. They're not poor people. They groom themselves to a point where they used to earn 100K per job to the point where they earn $1 million per job because of how their brand grew. You have to build a brand for yourself to get to that point. There are people who call me and say, oh, Robbie, can you do a voiceover for us for XYZ? And I say, okay, I can't do that, but I can direct you to somebody who can take that amount to do it. That this is what I will take, but I know people who can do this. Meaning, everything has a level. Now, if I'm an editor, and I love to edit, for instance, I love to edit documentary films. It might not be selling at that point where I'm learning the trade, but I could get to a point where I'll add something to my own editing, and I might just be the next big thing in the country or in the world. It's about pushing the boundaries. This is what I do. This is how I do it. Not many people can say, I'll write a theme song for your company. For instance, you create a multivitamin product. Then I write a song for it, create a script for it, go to the studio, record the song, record the script, and you put it on radio. Not many can do that. Some people can only write. Some can only come and voice. Some can only sit in the studio, edit, and have it done. But my point is, whichever one you're doing, add something to it. Add to it. During my days on radio, I started out as just a co-anchor to becoming an anchor, to becoming a DJ. Now, DJ doesn't mean just skipping one track to the other. No, it means mixing from one track to the other, playing as...
Which could eventually even be producing.
We could be producing. Now, the point I'm trying to drive at is add more. So I sometimes go to events and people see me and just say, Rob, are you playing, are you performing, or you are talking?
We need to know.
Yes, we need to know what you are coming for because, okay, I come as an MC. And they say, can you just do a song in between? I say, no, I didn't come with my band. I'm here to only anchor this event. What do I need to do? Add more. As a creative, add more to yourself.
Thank you so much, Mr. Robinson.
Thank you.
Been so insightful. But before we round up, what future projects do you have on ground? What should we look forward to?
Whoa, Robbie. Robbie is
I've been trying hard not to call you Robbie.
No, it's good. A lot of people call me Robbie because it sounds friendly. It sounds like me. I'm a very friendly guy, but people who don't know me don't talk to me because they'll say, you look very stern. Yeah, but the thing is, I'm trying to give myself more to the creative business. I've been in the shadows for a while, but I'm giving myself more. I used to have this event called Soul Expressions, where I do live music sessions for 2 hours monthly. So I'm bringing that back. And I'm also dropping a new single. It was supposed to drop on the 1st of December, but me and my management are still talking if we should drop it or if we should push it forward. But basically, I'm trying to give myself more back to the business because I believe that a creative person doesn't die. The creativity doesn't die. No matter what, so long as you keep giving, the world will keep taking.
So much dexterity in there as a creative.
Thank you. So keep giving. I'm giving more, so look out for more music and more activities.
Thank you so much, Robbie.
Thank you.
I have to call you that now.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. All right, so I hope you have enjoyed this interview. And for creatives out there, I hope you've learned a thing or two. And for voiceover artists, the market is endless and it's still bankable as it is. So for more of this interview, stay tuned to Thav TV. I remain your host, Natasha. Bye for now.